Welcome to that fucking slash stream. We're gonna get onto that because this shit is going to be insane if you fucking jerk off at first. Other things are more clear than what it used to be. We'll have that post nut clarity at the beginning itself. Yeah, I just clicked the when I just asked me a pop-up question, I just said it's for kids. The kids must also know that because they are fucking retarded as fuck. They are turning into a fucking retarded piece of shit. I could definitely say that with just not looking onto anything because you look around and you will see the kids actually all this it's like a hallucinated state. You would see a therapist, you literally go and see a hypnotic a person who can do the hypnotic thing. You'll see he would literally show you the watch swimming watch or something like that, or the color pattern of black and white just keep changing. So what do? Just keep focusing onto that shit, and this is same exact thing what is happening in the children as well as in the adults, as well as the people who are about to become the souls. They would just literally do that kind of. They're falling into the state of sleep trap. A kid would literally spend his whole 12 or 13 hours looking into the phone and just feeling like it's nothing have happened. That one, at least they could, what I'm saying is at least they could spend at least 5 minutes of their time to actually talk with the people you like. If not with your family, at least with your friends, you just at least talk with your friends, and then you will feel how uh, enlightened you become. You will see that your perspectives of consciousness become so much charged up. When you get socially connected, you could literally see how you are getting the charged thing up. And I have seen many kids currently have turned into an introverted more of characteristics. More than being an extrovert, they become introvert. And the kids who become extrovert are the people who are righteously guided by the father figure, because when the father figure actually forces them to be righteous, they would have that feeling to be like their father. They literally want to be like the father. They want to be masculine. They want to do the actions. They want to provide. So single mothers who are divorced and such kind of stuff, you bitches are gonna struggle so hard so soon, because what you are seeing is the pathetic masculine shit. What you see is a weak masculinity is what is actually running around this whole world. Weak masculinity? I'm pretty sure I said the weak masculinity because people are becoming retarded, and you see the generations that have been passed through. You take the modern. This is a circus where I don't want to take the credit for what have been copied from. So this is a circus point. Like what he was saying is the modern philosopher like Jordan Peterson. We don't study Jordan Peterson as a philosopher, but when Jordan Peterson comparing to the older philosophers like Socrates, Plato, Pythagoras, anyone who take you'll see we modern people study the older philosophers, and it's not the vice versa. Like we don't actually when we can't actually do that, right? So what we do is we are actually forcing ourselves to study the older philosophers, but we are not creating newer perspectives from what they have said, or we can actually completely say that is wrong what they have said. But what we are doing is just following what they have said and bringing new patterns to this world. And currently, the pattern is stuck, and you could see all the people were they were having a deep inside, they were having a deep philosophical thought, or the opening up of their eyes. They could see birds and sun as birds and sun, the colors as colors. But what right now it is officially proven that we became are the first generation to be retarded comparing our older generation, which means every generation are supposed to get much more developmentally, intellectually, but currently our generation, we are going backward. So this was the peak of the masculine evolution. You know, I mean, my generation is is in the verge, is in the edge. Like when you take the graph, like it goes like this. This is the peak 2026, and when it is just going down like a triangle. Now we are forming a pyramid, and who's the fucking mummy? Not me. The fucking mummy would be the people who we really need to actually find it out. The people like Leonardo da Vinci or Wright brothers. What kind of mixing is that? But that is true. And you keep seeing older people, older generations, they were more socially structured, intellectually advanced. They were mostly advanced in all texts and field. They could do maths without even going to the classes, you know. So we are becoming much more dumber after the arrival of smartphones, but even before that, the arrival of televisions is what the degradation of masculinity have started. When the masculinity degradation have started, the humanity has started to fall down. It's not it's not because the femininity have rights and like we need equality, the equality of the shade is what we fucking need. Is not the thing. It is because when the masculinity is dropped down is where the femininity have taken place, which literally means when the men got weaker, women took the chance, and now what we see is women getting much more stronger. Fucking bitches. That is what I exactly see, and this is my whole perspective. And if you have your own kind of perspectives, please do share that and try to change my mind if you can. There's nothing more I can argue because I have been thinking about it, I have been researching about it, I have been looking about it, and I have seen that the masculinity have actually depreciated. It's not depreciated; it has started actually decreasing after the arrival of TV. When the television came, the movie shows and the comedy shows, they try to show the father figure as a joker, like they are someone funny, and it have influenced the people who used to watch the television. And when the television came, I hope those people, everyone who lived in that generation, would somehow would crowd up, rush up to actually see such kind of miracle that they are seeing. So these kinds of shows have actually influenced the human side and have turned them into much more upside down kind of thing. What they were progressing, every progression was getting lost, and what we see now is a generation completely falling into that illusion, the hallucination trap. We could actually spend at least 3 to 4 hours in a day looking at the phone and not regretting about what we have actually done. But this would literally go to anyone, but especially the child, when they start looking at their phone, they become so numb, they become the slaves, they become the machines. What they're gonna do is now they're gonna be controlled by this, so you can get out of that matrix. At least you can't even think outside of the box. It keeps you trapped. And even the trend, every trend that comes in, you could see many people doing the reel. When some song get famous, they will literally started to dance with that, act with that, do with that, because what they need is like, what they need is attention, what they need is people must see me like I'm a hero. I'm under the starlight, and people say that that's a good thing because you have that ego working in yourself, but that is an unhealthy ego. You don't know how to, because when you don't get like, when you see the scarcity of attention, you feel low, you feel down, and what keeps you motivated is someday I'll get famous, someday people will recognize me, someday I'll just keep getting money. But you are not finding yourself. You are going behind the trend. And every time the trend changes, you act accordingly to the trend change. You could see most movie dialogues which could especially be a trend right now, you would keep saying that, and when the trend is over, new dialogue would come out, and you would see everyone starting when they are calling, when they are speaking, when they're having some jokes, they would literally use such kind of things. And where they saw that, where is the fucking source? Is from the internet, the place where you get hallucinated. Uh, I feel pity for, to be honest, I feel pity for people who actually pretend like they follow the trend. They would just literally copy the dialogues that have been in the trending section, and they think that they are doing some kind of a funny, badass thing. It feels like fucking retarded shit for. That is true. And don't see me like I don't do that shit. I do that shit. But I know what is happening, you know? So I don't follow these kinds of patterns mostly. But if you're an Instagram user, you will definitely fall into that pattern. You definitely fall into that pitfall. Like it is a Spartan's hole, the Spartan's big black hole. Once you're just watching the video, you'll be like, "Ah, that is the exact moment you're gonna get. No, this is Insta. Only you will fall into that trap or done. So I actually I have both kind of energies. One of the extroverting energy and introverting energy, and I haven't actually given out. I haven't exposed like a light of my extroverting energy as much as I would do when there is no one watching me. So I hope I would bring that shit out too, the extroverting energy. I hope I would, when I talk with people, I try to bring that out. It's a retarded energy. It's like a fucking stupid retarded energy, but I am raw. I keep talking what I want. These are something I just copied from Circa, Better Call Josh, and such people actually influenced me a lot. Uh, and what I do is I would become like a retard. I just talk like a retard. I just act like a retard. I'll be fucking extroverted. Like I would just keep talking a lot of shit. And I love that, and people would love that too. That is my extroverted side, and I would try to bring that out. And most of the time, I try to do in front of the camera. I would get fucked up. You know, when mine would be working in the state, I used to be, but when I'm currently consistent right now, I could see that I am in the stage to do that in front of the fucking camera. And I need to upgrade a new mics and all this type of stuff. And yeah, and now let's get into some YouTube watching things. I don't get copyright strike or something like that. I'll be mostly be happy to do that again.
More fragile your worth becomes.
I'm not sure if we could actually listen to the voices that it actually says, you know.
holds a new threat. Every taller man becomes a rival. Every viral clip becomes a test. You see free
The audio would be like you would listen it like a double voice overlaid together. I know I have experienced such kind of thing once I recorded this, so just adjust with this shit, brother.
Friedrich Nietzsche's warning wasn't just about evil, it was about becoming shaped by what you fight. And staring into the abyss of superficial value, Clavicular did not escape it.
That is what the Nietzsche said about the no, talking about the clavicular. I guess he have that kind of a. He's mostly the dark triad character of he's the subject base layer of psychopath, and I'm pretty sure he have that psychopathic energies that you could literally get from him once you start watching his videos. When his face moves, when his face changes according to the situations, where he gets jealous, where he gets ego clash, or his eyes move like an evil's eyes, when he gets insensitive. I hope that I hope that works well in his body, but I'm so glad that he have taken that out as his conscious side of character. But if he have taken that in the shadow side, it would have turned into a fucking monster, and it would be really weird when living with such shit in the shadow side. But actually, what he have done is he have taken that psychopathic thing from the shadow side and he have exposed it to the conscious side, which means his shadow side is the conscious side, and now it's going to be the vice versa. His conscious side is going to the shadow side. So when he's lonely, when he's unconsciously active in the moments when he stays calm, when he's more comfortable with people, or when he's staying lonely in his room, the good side comes out. He may have that feeling to actually help people around him. At the same time, he would have that good thoughts coming up in his mind. Like he would be so calm, he would be so structured. He have that good energy when he's alone. But when he gets into the public, when his conscious side is active, the psycho side gets out and he becomes much more of that psychopathic character, as you could see in the American Psycho, which is a great thing, but because he is exposing it to the public, his shadow side, and most people don't do that. Most people don't try to show the shadow side to the people. They suppress it because they lose that, the attention from the people. They may think like, what if the people think me like that pervert? Or what if people think me I'm a fucking pervert, or I'm a fucking rapist, I'm a fucking pedo, or I'm a fucking homo, and you suppress that shit. When you suppress that just because you can express it to the public, it's gonna stay inside your heart, inside your mind. It's gonna build into a fucking monster, which would be literally difficult for you to. It should be literally difficult for you to manage once it's kept, when it is gotten out of control. You know what I mean? So the one most important thing that you could ever do is not to focus on money, not to focus on fame, power, all this type of likes, all this type of shit. But the first important thing that you need to do after you have that fucking consciousness hit that I'm a fucking 18-year-old boy is to see yourself deep within what you are, the unconscious side of yourself. You literally look into a banana and think like this banana is gonna peel itself, but no, your unconscious needs to work in that shit. You will have to unpeel by yourself. You, which will literally that if you see yourself in deep within yourself, what you are, what your shadow side is, what the negativity is, and how to control it, how to manage it, that is exact moment you will be different from a monkey. So clavicular, he have actually taken his conscious side out of the shadow. He have collected all these negativities and he tried to implement that, but still there are some leftovers within his that he doesn't want to bring that out, but it is still clear in his way of his attitude that the energy that he shares.
He became a part
It's
of it.
not
Ultimately, clavicular is not the disease. He's the symptom of the disease. He did not create a culture that's obsessed with appearance, ranking, or visibility. He operates inside of it. A culture where worth is measured by height, status, dominance, virality. A culture where optimization replaces transcendence. Friedrich Nietzsche warned us that when the highest values, humanity doesn't immediately fall into chaos. Something quieter happens. Meaning erodes, depth it shrinks, striving begins. In the absence of having something higher to aim at, in the absence of becoming a better person within ourselves, the self becomes the highest reference. Clavicular reflects this condition. His world is structured around surface value. Who mocks who ranks higher than who appears superior. Even moments of real moral weight are observed in his reward. Not because he is uniquely corrupt, but because he operates inside of a system that rewards visibility over virtue. The danger that Peter Nietzsche believed was not that humanity would become monstrous in a dramatic sense. It was that that humanity would reduce greatness to calibration, transcendence to aesthetics, character to branding.
He would be some, no, he would be kind of a figure that you can literally see him as an inspiration so that you can build this himself. You can build that energy aura within yourself through such kind of red pill characters. You know what I mean? This is Zerka. If people don't know who the Zerka is, he is the one who told me to be fucking confident nigga. I'm always forever grateful for him to have to provide me this deep insight, deep wisdom. But also the downside is that I have gone too much seeking myself, too much finding about the wisdom, too much searching for the esoteric content. So most subjects that I talk are something that most people seem like is fucking mental. At the same time, I could prospect small community. I'm pretty sure it's so hard for me to actually grasp a lot of people because the content that I'm speaking is something which is a bit hard for people to actually understand. So since they haven't seen themselves, since they don't have that deep intuitive insight within themselves, they would definitely force them to actually live in a none of these complications exist. Oh, I have seen, it's not I've seen, but I got more about the religious stuffs and all. And when someone say, blessed Jesus, forgive me, Jesus, have mercy on the sinner, Jesus, save me, I feel so pity on them because they haven't still it's not a religion, but what Jesus Christ have. Is it okay? Is this still working? It is still working, niggas. So what I'm trying to say is you won't even have to double-eyed sniper rifle eagle kind of form to be like you will be pretend to be you get saved but you won't be saved. You will be straight sent to like, okay, you will go to church every day. Okay, you will go to church every day. Like when you die and get into this place, you go to church every day, yeah. Die and get into this place, you go to church every day, yeah. You confess to the priest, yeah. Okay, confess to the priest, yeah. Okay, what? Did you give water to your neighbor when he needs? Did you give water to your neighbor when he needs? Um, he didn't ask me. Oh, won't be saved. That is what Jesus is telling you. So at least the one important thing is that you follow the commandments of Jesus to actually understand what a real Christianity is, or you need to be a real Christian follower. It's not about going to church. It's not about confessing. It's not about you having a Bible study. It's about if you are a follower of Jesus Christ, you need to follow His commandments. What I mean. Hope it is making some sense in your fucking retarded brain. And I say you, Jesus is King, Christ is King, and never, after all the research I have done, I have realized that you can never blame Muslims on this thing. I'm not saying that, well, you can never blame Muslims because Muslims, their concept about God and Jesus Our Christian concept about God are saved, brothers and sisters. The one thing that differs is Muslims don't trust in Jesus, the Son of God, but they straight trust in the God, the Creator, the Father. But what we do is we seek Father through the Son. There's no much difference. And you still argue about Muslims and stuff like that. It's stupid, but it's about their content, like the way that they, how you need to see the people, how you need to treat the people. I hope that when Muhammad Nabi is writing his more than the prophetic archetype of Nabi, he have brought out the human archetype of Muhammad Nabi. So he brought something that would limit, that could limit the humans to never go into the extreme sinful things, but he must have seen woman as a fucking slave. Can't complain, bro. You know, I'm just kidding. You know, he can actually do stuff like that because he's a prophet. So he must draw the line because what you see right now, when women get more submissive, the family becomes much more happy because men is forced to be masculine, and when the man is mostly forced to be themselves masculine, the feminine becomes a submissive subject. It becomes a submissive one. So the problem what arises though is the toxicity. When men uses the masculinity to the toxic archetype of masculinity or the immature masculinity, that is where the relationship fails. That is where you seeing your father slapping your mother for no reason, for no reason. That could be the reason. And seeing her father as an evil archetype. Because they are fucking stupid, retarded people. They don't know how to. It's not about the Muslims, but the entire human thing. That is what I'm talking about. As you could see, even in my generation, you could see my father's or my mother's father's generation. You would see uh, physical abuse, domestic abuse, which arise because their immature masculinity. As I have said, the retarded, the degradation of masculinity have started at least at the beginning of 1950s, our grandfather's time period, when the industrialization revolution was getting into the play. The men were actually becoming a slave. And that was the exact moment the men was actually turning into a machine without them knowing that they are turning into a machine. So what they would lack is the masculinity. The masculinity requires the unpredictability, the action, the chaos, the controlled aggressiveness. Everything is suppressed. Now I am the boss. I'll tell you what to do. You do what I say. That's gone now. You don't have that. Even in the kingdom time period, they used to, even though they don't see their people of the kingdom as slaves, but they would have their own right, they would have their own authority to bring up things by themselves. That's where the more philosophers came in. That is where the word eureka came into existence. So we don't get suppressed, but what happens currently, the modern generation, if someone finds a cure for cancer, they would be fucking suppressed. They would be fucking silenced. It will be done. So that is the difference between our modern generation and the previous kind of generation. And after the 1950s, the masculinity, when they keep going to work, they keep doing the 9 to 5 job, they keep doing such stuff. So what happened is they every day see their wife, they every day see their child. So they are not having that distance. See, a military person who actually go for the war and come back, you see the first thing that they would do, the wife and the husband, is kiss each other and just have sex in the bed at first thing itself. So it's because the distance made that connection. But what happens now? Every day I go to work, come back, you see woman, you see the complaints, you see the child, he getting into troubles, you try to control him. You're suppressing that masculine side of things it is getting suppressed. Now, when it is suppressed, it turns into a beast. It turns into a monster. The things that you're supposed to express getting suppressed, now it transforms into a beast. So what happened was domestic abuse started. They started beating wives so for his own satisfaction, or his own release of that anger, release of that suppressive energy. So most father figure became some toxic thing. Who will, like, which child or wife will literally say no to a masculine side which is more similar to the Kratos from the god of war? No one. No one would say, I don't need such kind of man. She would crave for that man. He's the alpha one, he's the dominant one, and a woman would crave for such psychologically structured, strong, masculine minded person. And what we see is the weak side of it. Our generation is the weaker side of it, that thing. So I'm not a liberal person. At the same time, I'm not a complete conservative person. I need to balance this for the modern thing and the traditional thing together. So that's it. At least our generation is in a state to seek our own self. Even if I say it right now, it's just because my generation have told me to seek what I am, my thoughts, my thought pattern, my consciousness, my unconsciousness. So I guess, like me, there would be many people around who can do that stuff. So this is a generation where we could actually focus on ourselves, on what we are. So, which means there is a chance for a change to arise from nowhere. But you can't do that just because you are trapped. You are in a hallucinated state. Your mind won't work. Your mind is stuck. It's frozen. It's like a Harry Potter spell. Glacio, you are frozen. You can't move. You're just stuck there looking at a screen all the time. I can't help that. I keep doing that stuff, but at least I have this kind of enlightened fucking ball knowledge. How long I have been fucking talking? Every time I keep this YouTube on and I don't watch any kind of stuff, I just keep talking. The fuck? 34 minutes.
You didn't want your mom to have anxiety and stay up all night, so you didn't tell her how bad you're doing.
So what's happening there during your life?
Sex, man. Just let that pull.
I do that stuff.
But look, we as young men don't tell our moms we're gonna kill ourselves. We don't want to burden them with depression shit. And you told them and you owe it to. And you owe it to yourself. Because let me tell you something. God is not gonna like you severing your bond over some trash talk behind your back. Even if it's your best friend, sometimes the trash talk, everything gets lost in translation.
See, so the way that he is talking is influence, and must accept that, and he don't
They
get
get
much
confused. They think you snake them, but
appreciation from people who watches this stuff. People call him like a psychotic person, but you can argue with him.
have anxiety and stay up all night, so you didn't tell
Yeah,
her how bad
wins
you're
all
doing.
the time.
So what's happening there during your life?
Sex, man. Just let that pull. Look, we as young men don't tell our moms we're gonna kill ourselves. We don't want to burden them with depression shit. And you told them and you owe it to. And you owe it to yourself. Because let me tell you something. God is not gonna like you severing a bond over some trash talk behind your back, even if it's your best friend. Sometimes the trash talk, everything gets lost in translation, and they get confused. They think you snaked them, but so they snake you, and then you say, "Hey, you snaked me," and they go, "Oh shit, my bad." No, but it's all lost in the devil's confusion, man. Jesus, you didn't.
So one thing that I've learned from that thing is, if you don't talk these your depressed things with any of your friends or family, then you are not the right person to actually have like a great life in you. And you have to be authentic to yourself. You have to take out that authentic, the originality within yourself. If you lack taking that OG vibe from yourself and you suppressing it for you, some of the gains from the society, the money, the fame, anything, you are literally not a person which actually need to get famous, to be a celebrity, to be a millionaire. You have to go through the stuff of pain. You have to go through the stuff of depression. You have to go through that stuff of experience where you can share that thing to the people who actually deserves it. Damn. So that they would help you. The one important thing about the humanity or the work of human is he needs to actually do something good for the society. That is what a person needs to do. He needs to do something good for society. The monk who keep always meditating at the bridge of the Himalayas, they don't do a shit for us. And you still think, I need to become a monk. I need to know, if you want to live a life righteously, you have to see yourself deep, seek deep within yourself and share that to the people who need it. Whether it will be stupidity or it will be the highest grade of intellectual perspective that you can ever produce from your side. Fucking life. I always think about him to come up with those different sorts of ideology, topics and stuff like that, but I am so fucking lazy. This smartphone era have turned me into a fucking snail that I can't do that. I will be sitting at my bed, looking at the phone or playing Hogwarts Legacy because I love doing that stuff. I can take myself out from that, but it's like a venom from the Spider-Man 3 when Peter Parker trying to pull that fucking thing from his body. The venom won't go so fast, but with his disciplined, consistent action, he takes that shit out. The same way. It won't go because I've turned to a lazy person because of the smartphone. I need to pull that venom out of my fucking body purposefully and take that and throw that to you so that you can also learn that from it. But at least I'm sharing my experience to you. You know what I mean? So I'll bring up with some really good content about like specific things or my experiences I had. Also about my cold approach, which I used to had one time, and I would definitely never recommend for you to do the cold approach unless you're a person who literally crave for woman attention. Otherwise, you don't need to have the cold approach. At least you can develop that confidence within yourself by just usually talking to people from Instagram or to monkey, some kind of sort of stuff like that. You can literally see yourself at first when you talk into the video. When woman comes and you will see that shyness rising from you. Like you will be smiling. Your default emotional state won't be same. This is something I have learned from Better Call George. This is a manipulative state. When woman comes in you, your emotional state, your default emotional states won't be same. It's gonna rise up. So when she speaks something, you will be so blushing, you will be smiling, you will be doing this, you will be doing that, you will be doing some stuff for her. Even if best friend telling you to do that, you won't do that shit. But when woman asks you, like, I'll call right now, I'll call him and make it happen right now because one day you're gonna suck my dick. That's the mentality of that person, but which won't be a righteous one. When he gets into the end, all he see is the tears coming from his own eyes, or he falling into the depressed state. That is a truth, and that is the truth and the righteous wisdom that I'm pulling that out from the infinity and giving that to you. So take it and act like that, nigga. So what happens? So I'm telling you, you don't need to do the cold approach in real life to actually take over the confidence. But at least the first thing is that you need to build that confidence within yourself and a righteous relationship. Fuck, I have been losing myself. I'm pretty sure you lose a great content.